Yeah, this is a really exciting new species of dinosaur that we just announced a couple weeks ago. It's called akainacephalus johnsoni, and it's a armored dinosaur that's covered in bony armor on the head and body, as well as a big tail club, bony tail club that you see on its tail. This animal lived about 76 million years ago during the late Cretaceous period, and it's only been found in one place in Grand Staircase-Escalante National Monument in southern Utah, in a rock layer called the Kaiparos Formation. It has a lot of little different features about the skeleton that make it different from other species of armored dinosaurs that have been found in Utah and elsewhere, but perhaps the most prominent thing are the very spiky pyramidal pieces of bony armor that cover the skull. Yeah. This animal is about 13 to 15 feet long, and it was an herbivore, so it ate plants, and you can see the beak on the front of its snout for cropping vegetation. And that armor that it has covering it was probably both for protection, but also for some sort of display purpose. We've been working as a museum in Grand Staircase for well over 10 years now, since the early 2000s, and almost every species of dinosaur, as well as other large backbone animals such as turtles and crocodiles and things like that, turns out to be a new species. And that was really unexpected because we have a lot of other deposits from the same age from elsewhere in Western North America that have dinosaurs preserved in them, and we would have expected we were going to find the same species as those. So the really big driving research question now is, why are we finding all these different species? Does it have something to do with climate or sea level or something else we haven't thought about? So we continue to work in Grand Staircase in the late Cretaceous, and we're interested in what's found in slightly older rocks as well, to see how these ecosystems evolved through time. And as we find more species and better fossils of existing species, we can put them into context and try and understand how the climate might have been different, or these other factors might have been different that caused these new species to become isolated just in this area. So there's a huge process that goes into this research and fieldwork. So we might spend a few weeks to a few months excavating the fossil. In this case, we found a lot of the bones of the animal, and it was excavated over 2 field seasons. But that's just the beginning of the process. Then we have to bring it back to the lab here at the museum and remove all the rock from around the bone, glue back together any cracks or breaks, and stabilize the bones so they can be handled and studied. And then that's finally when we actually start the research process, trying to determine what sort of animal it is it a new species or not, who it's most closely related to. And so that's why, even though the first bones of this animal were found in 2009, it was only announced just this year because we had to wait until the research process was done and the scientific paper got published. So what you see behind me is a reconstructed skeleton using replicas of the bones, because the original bones are so fragile. But we do have some of the bones on display in the window of the paleontology collections up on the 3rd floor for the next month or 2. In addition to finding out that it was a new species, what was really exciting is what it told us about the evolution of the group of armored dinosaurs with tail clubs called ankylosaurids. Rather than being most closely related to a bunch of other species found in Western North America, it turns out that akainacephalus plus one animal from New Mexico called Notocephalosaurus are most closely related to a bunch of species from Asia. And so that shows us that this is a group that emigrated from Asia to North America sometime around 78 million years ago, and that the species of ankylosaurids that we find here in North America represent 2 separate radiations, which we didn't really know before. Well, I'm really fortunate to be able to be a paleontologist and work at a natural history museum, and it's pretty incredible that my job is to every day spend some time with fossils that are millions of years old. I get to interact with our amazing team of volunteers, and then we get to all go out in the field and to not only hike around in beautiful areas, but discover new fossils that no one has seen before. You uncover a bone and you're the first person to ever see that bone, and that's the first time it's seen the light of day in millions and millions of years. So that's a pretty cool experience. Yeah, so we're here in one of the permanent galleries, the Past Worlds exhibition, but we have a bunch of different really cool exhibits here at the Natural History Museum of Utah, and we're constantly adding and updating them. So they're not static exhibits, like we just installed this mount of akainacephalus, for example. So there's always new things to come back and check out.